Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, I'm Neri Octavia, the student of Islamic Education Management of IAIN Batusangkar, would like to present my final task of English text study subject with our lecturer, Ms. Rita Erlinda. Okay, in my previous video at midterm test, we had discussed about reading research article with IMBRA format with the topic online learning. And now I'm going to do literature review of 25 articles that I have read. But before, let's see the functions of the literature review. Well, function of literature review, the first one is to demonstrate your knowledge, to demonstrate that you have a solid understanding of the literature and the research around your research questions. So your research is going to be on a certain topic and the starting point for your discussion. So it is to show whatever your question is, whatever the aim of your research, you need to demonstrate that you know what has already been done. And the second function is to show that there is a gap, to show that is a need for your specific research. So if you are doing masters, are you doing PhD research, regardless of the level you are at, there's some requirement for originality. Generally, universities don't want you to research something that has been done a million times. So because what's the purpose of that? So what the literature review serves to do is for you to go and do the work and to figure out where are the gaps in the literature, where are the gaps in the research, how can I take a unique angle and something that's not been done before. And the third function is to show conceptual framework. Not necessarily relevant to everyone, but for those of you who are planning to build a theoretical model or conceptual model, conceptual framework, the literature reviews is the basis of that. So what you would then be doing is taking the various theories, the various pieces of research that have been undertaken in the past and building some sort of conceptual model that you would then go on test and validate. And the last one is to inform the methodology. For you to have foundation or to build foundation of methodology, if you are going to find naturally is you are going to get exposure to all the various studies that have been done, and you are going to see methodologies they use. Did they use qualitative and they use quantitative? If they use quantitative, did they have well validated, well tested question sets? Did they publish questionnaires and so on?
Okay, now let's see the matrix of literature review of relevant studies and its mapping. Okay, this is the matrix of literature review of relevant studies. And the first one is we can see research topic. The research topic is online learning. And let's see the table. There are some titles of the columns. The first one is number, reference, article, research questions, hypothesis, aims, and there are 4 columns for methods: research type and design, population and samples, techniques of data collection and instruments, techniques of data analysis, and the last column, major findings. Well, let's see the first article about online learning. Online learning, the first one is online learning in higher education during COVID-19 pandemic, a case of Ghana. This study was conducted to explore students' response to online learning in higher education in Ghana. This is kind of quantitative research with 460 students responded to the survey, and the research used a questionnaire for collecting the data and frequency and percentage for analyzing the data. And the second article is development of online science learning devices cooperative model type start assisted by video media to improve learning outcomes of elementary school students. This research aimed to improve the learning outcomes of natural science in class 5 State Elementary School of Wonorejo 314 Surabaya. These are the research questions. And this is a kind of quantitative research using one group pre-test and post-test design. And the population are 25A class students and 25B class students. And we use observation, test, and questionnaire for data collection and statistical data analysis for analyzing the data. And then let's see the third article. The title is Online Learning, Leading E-Learning at Higher Education. It is aimed at giving a general overview of the extent of which e-learning is being used in one of private university in Lampung, how it was used and its potential and pitfalls. It also examines e-learning from the point of view of students and lecturers. It is a kind of quantitative research with 35 learners and 6 lecturers as populations. And we use a questionnaire for collecting the data, and we use SPSS for data analysis. And then let's see the fourth article entitled Online and Remote Learning in Higher Education Institutes, a Necessity in Light of COVID-19 Pandemic. This research intends to examine how teaching and learning can still continue during such unprecedented time. Subsequently, the study was guided by the following research questions. What are some of the challenges and benefits of integrating online learning in tertiary institutions in response to COVID-19 pandemic? So this is a kind of an exploratory research design, and the population is universities, resources, staff, and students. And then we use an interview for collecting the data, and we use a qualitative meta-analysis for analyzing the data. And then let's see the article number 5, entitled Exploring Collaborative Online Learning. And this is the research question. To what extent can the components of collaborative learning be identified in the online interactions of students placed in collaborative learning groups? Okay, this is an exploratory research design with participants about 24 students, 18 women and 6 men. And to collect the data, focus group online interaction. And we use analysis of online text for analyzing the data. And let's see the article number 6, entitled Leading the Band, the Role of the Instructor in Online Learning for Educators. The purpose of this study was to examine perception of participants in an online course for educators concerning the role of the online instructor. Okay, and it is a qualitative research, and the participants are teachers, administrators, and other interested in standards and online learning and classroom strategies. And we use a survey for collecting the data, and we use online survey for analyzing the data. Next, let's see the article number 7, entitled Quantitative Analysis of the Evolving Student Experience During the Transition to Online Learning, Second Language STEM Students. It is aimed to ensure the effectiveness of our operation. The Quality Assurance Unit of the university undertook detailed surveys of our students and staff during this period. It is kind of quantitative research with 1,171 students participated for the first survey, and 580 students participate in the second survey from 3,749 students. And we use survey for collecting the data and quality assurance unit for analyzing the data. And then let's see the article number 8, Students' Perception of Online Learning, a Comparative Study. This research assesses the perceived effectiveness of the use of online learning modules into undergraduate information system, business course, and elective course and required course. It is a kind of qualitative research, and the participants 36 of 40 enroll in the required course and 18 of 26 enroll in the elective course completed the survey. And for collecting the data, we use participants' observation and statistical data analysis for analyzing the data. And then let's see the article number 9, entitled A Quantitative Analysis of Most Relevant Gamification Elements in Online Learning Environment. The aim of this research is to identify the most relevant gamification elements in gaming online learning environment. It is a kind of quantitative research and survey design, and we use 833 active students as participants or population, and we use Pearson's correlation coefficient for collecting the data, and we use analysis of gamification for analyzing the data. And then let's see the article number 10, entitled Leading the Band, the role of the instructor in online learning for educators. The purpose of this study was to examine perception of participants in an online course for educators concerning the role of the online instructor. And this is kind of qualitative research. Here there are 325 survey participants, 287 were female and 35 male. Regarding ethnic background, 279 were self-identified as white, 13 as African American, 8 as Hispanic, and 5 multi-ethnic. And we use online survey for collecting the data, and we use survey to analyze the data. Now let's see the article number 11, College Students' Perception on Offline versus Online Learning in the Time of Pandemic, a Quantitative Descriptive Study in Universitas Pekalongan. This study aimed to determine college students' perception of their experience in attending lectures during the pandemic with two different methods. Those are offline at the beginning of the pandemic and online at the later time during the pandemic. This is a quantitative research with respondents about 369, and this research used data collection techniques by online survey and use quantitative analysis for data collection. And the article number 12, entitled COVID-19 and e-learning, the challenges of students in tertiary institution, aim to explore the challenges students in tertiary institution have reported facing in online learning in era of coronavirus pandemic. This is a kind of quantitative research with 500 participants and use data collection technique by online survey and statistical analysis for data analysis techniques. And let's see the article number 13, entitled Students' Barriers to Online Learning, a Factor Analytics Study. It is aimed to increase our ability to design instruction to improve how we instruct and to advise students. This is a quantitative research, and the respondents more than 1,000 respondents. And then we use the research use survey for data collection and PCFA for analyzing the data. And let's see the article number 14, entitled Understanding Social Presence in Text-Based Online Learning Environment. This article responds to the lack of shared understanding of social presence in online learning through a presentation of selected results of exploratory study into the nature, role, and function of social presence and mediated social process. And this is qualitative and constructivist research. And we use questionnaire for data collection techniques and thematic analysis for analysis data techniques. Then let's see the article number 15, Online Learning a Panacea in the Time of COVID-19 Crisis. It is aimed to explore the growth of EdTech startup and online learning, to conduct a strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenge. And the third one, to give some suggestion and recommendation for success of online mode of learning during a crisis-like situation. This is a qualitative research, and we use secondary data for collecting the data, and as YOC analysis for analysis data techniques. And let's see the article number 16, entitled Developing an Instrument to Assess Students' Readiness for Online Learning, a Validation Study. It is described the process used to develop, evaluate, and validate a survey design to assess readiness to learn and participate in formal online learning environments at the post-secondary level. It is kind of qualitative research with 501 participants from undergraduate and graduate courses as population, and the research use survey as data collection and statistical analysis for analyzing the data technique. And let's see the article number 17, a structural equation model of predicators for effective online learning. The purpose of this study was to eliminate many of the problems of correlational and ordinary least squares analysis by using confirmatory factor analysis and structural equation modeling, same to systematically identify plausible evaluation factors and further test the major relationship between variables. And this is a kind of qualitative research with 43 class section as participants, and it is used observation for collecting the data technique and descriptive statistic for analyzing the data technique. The article number 18, role of social presence and cognitive absorption in online learning environments. The research questions are: what is the relationship between the social presence and students' course satisfaction? And the second question, what is the relationship between cognitive absorption and the student satisfaction? What is the relationship between social presence and cognitive absorption online learning environments? And the fourth, what is the relationship between students' interest and cognitive absorption and satisfaction? This is a kind of quantitative research. The sampling frame was based on the students who were taking predominantly online course that could include some face-to-face session. And we use online survey for collecting the data and analysis the data by using two-step SAM. Let's see the article number 19, COVID-19 pandemic and online learning, the challenges and the opportunities. This article discusses the crisis upon migration methods of higher institutions of learning, students and faculty members into online learning, the opportunities and challenges with respect to COVID-19, and also add value the existing body of literature on online learning by providing comprehensive awareness on the migration method of instructional delivery adapted by universities, faculty, and students, challenges and opportunities. The word better educate the pandemic. And this is a kind of qualitative research. The research use observation for collecting the data and analysis of online data interaction for analyzing the data. And let's see the article number 20, entitled Theoretical Foundation for Enhancing Social Connectedness in Online Learning Environments. This article seeks to provide the theoretical foundation for effective design of social context of an online course that accounts for guiding the revision of social schema for achieving such perception. This is a kind of theoretical research, and it is used online forum for collecting the data and analysis of online data interaction for analyzing the data. And let's see the article number 21, entitled Online Learning and Parent Satisfaction During COVID-19, Child Competency in Independent Learning as a Moderator. It is examining moderating effect of children's competency in independent learning in the relation between the amount of learning assignments, length of offline learning, and parent satisfaction with provision. And it is a kind of descriptive research, and here there are 3,381 primary school parents whose children engage in online learning at the time of the survey. And it is used this survey for collecting the data and use SPSS for and descriptive statistics for analyzing the data techniques. And then let's see the article number 22, entitled Learning, Online Learning, and Distance Learning Environments. Are they the same? It is aimed to know how the learning environment is used and the influencing of the tools and the techniques that distinguish differences in learning outcomes as the technology evolves. It is a kind of qualitative designs, and there are 43 conference participants. It used survey as a collecting data technique and qualitative method for analyzing data technique. And let's see the article number 23, entitled Learning Analytics as Metacognitive Tool to Influence Learning and Transactional Distance and Motivation in Online Learning Environments, with research questions. Does providing feedback support to learners about LA outcomes make significant difference in their transactional distance perceptions? B. Does providing feedback support to learners about LA outcomes make significant difference in their motivations? Okay, so this is experimental research with 81 first-year students as population, and questionnaire used for collecting the data, and the Kolmogorov Smirnov test for analyzing the data. And let's see the article number 24, entitled Towards a New Approach to Managing Teacher Online Learning, Learning Communities as Activity System. This research aims to propose an effective approach to managing teacher professional development, especially for teachers in rural China areas who have few experiences of integrating technology into their instructional practices. So it is kind of an exploratory study with 117 teachers from 30 primary schools as a population, and questionnaire as data collection technique, and descriptive statistics as data analyzing techniques. And the last articles is Perception of Online Learning Among Collegiate Students as Systematic. So the research question is, what is the student perception towards the online learning and obstacle faced in online learning? And the objective of the study has framed according to problem defined in the study. First one is to know the student's perception toward online learning. The second one is to exhibit obstacles faced by the students' online learning. This is a kind of quantitative research with 126 respondents, students of colleges, the non-random, the colleges, and we use it used a questionnaire for collecting the data and chi-square for analyzing the data technique. Okay, now let's see the gaps and the summary and the gaps after showing the literature review above. Okay, now let's see the columns consist of number, article, or reference, a summary, and research gap feature research. Okay, the first online learning in higher education during COVID-19 pandemic, a case of study in Ghana. A case of Ghana. Okay, in the summary, there are some findings, and we find the research gap, practical knowledge gap. It is about the influence of environments, so it's hard to apply. So practical knowledge gap was found. Students had limited internet connectivity and ability to access the internet. So this is a problem for the students and as the population in this research. So it is recommended for the university to prepare the facilities and services for internet access for the students. And then let's see the second article, Development Online Science Learning Devices Cooperative Model, Start assisted by video media to improve learning outcomes of elementary school students. Okay, we find the research gap is population gaps. The population is only for grade 5 of elementary school. So the next research, we need to add more population in different grade of students to prove whether this way is effective or different grade students, or whether it is generally used for students. And then let's see the third article, online learning, leading e-learning at higher education. We found the gap still about practical knowledge gap. It is the interference or environment's influence. So it is hard to applicate. Here there is a limitation internet also, so the students hard to access the internet, and also the lecturers it was hard to control the students, and then this is become the problem for the research. And then let's see the research number 4, online and remote learning in higher education institutes, a necessity in light of a COVID pandemic. The gap, methodological gap, it is caused because the method used is limited. So for the next research, it should be methodological, various methodological. And then let's see the article number 4, online and remote learning in higher education institute, a necessity. Okay, right. And then number 5, exploring collaborative online learning. There is also practical knowledge gap. Based on the student perception process, in case that there is an effective of collaborative online learning, it can be time waster, assignment, time seen unnecessarily, drag on forever due to trying to catch up everyone. Then number 6, leading the band, the role of instructor in online learning for educators. So this is also practical knowledge gap. And for the next research should be developed in communication and professional and pedagogic learning. And then let's see number 7, quantitative analysis of the evolving student experience during the transition to online learning, second language STEM. And we find different gap here, evidence gap. It is about findings we find, and it is contrary with the conclusion and the concept of general fact. So it is about evidence gap. And then for article number 8, students' perception of online learning, a comparative study, and we still found a practical knowledge gap. And also, let's see the article number 9, the quantitative analysis of the most relevant gamification elements in online learning environment. We still find a practical knowledge gap. The findings generate some recommendation to improve the learning environment and provide guidance to students, focusing on improving their performance and interactions, more meaningful and productive interactions. And then let's see the text, the article number 10, leading the band, the role of the instructor in online learning for educators. We still find here practical knowledge gap based on the implications. And let's see number 11, entitled College Students' Perception of Online versus Online Learning in the Time of Pandemic, Quantitative Descriptive Study in Universitas Pekalongan. It is also found a practical knowledge gap. Most of the students rejected online learning, so it is possible to do blended learning in the future. This needs to be considered because there is a decrease in student self-efficacy due to being unfamiliar with using online learning application. So they feel they cannot show their best ability to compete academically with their classmates. And then article number 12, COVID-19 and e-learning, the challenges of students in tertiary institution. We also find a practical knowledge gap. And then for article number 13, students' barriers to online learning, a factor analytic study. Here we find methodological gap. The point is the study do not show causes. We can show relationship among the various and the independent variables we have chosen to show what causes of the relationship. So further research would need to be done using time series and probably some quadratic methods, and would allow the researcher to determine the causation within this relationship. And then let's see the article number 14, understanding social presence in text-based online learning environment, and identifying the gap here. And let's see the the article number 15, online learning apprenticeship here in the time of COVID-19 crisis. Here we still found practical knowledge gap, where the students are less affluent and belong to less tech-savvy families with financial resources restriction. Therefore, they may lose out when classes occur online. And then let's see the article number 16, developing an instrument to assess students' readiness for online learning, a validation study. So here we found evidence gap because there is contrary to expectation. This study did not reveal any significant relationship between interest and cognitive absorption. And let's see the article number 17, a structural equation model of predictors for effective online learning. I didn't find the gaps here. And the 18th article, role of social presence of cognitive absorption in online learning environments. I found practical knowledge gap in this research. And then let's see number 19, COVID-19 pandemic and online learning, the challenges and opportunities. I still found practical knowledge gap. And then let's see the article number 20, theoretical foundation for enhancing social connectedness in online learning environments. And here the article has suggested a theoretical framework for the systematic design of group social structure into the social context of the online learning environment. So let's see number 21, online learning and parent satisfaction during COVID-19. child competence in independent learning as moderator. I found the evidence gap here. The present study failed to find evidence for the link between the more amount of learning assignments and length of online learning and parent satisfaction. It's possible that parents may have mixed perception toward online learning when the amount of length in online learning is examined independently. Okay, and then let's see the text, the article number 22. Online learning and distant learning environments, are they the same? I didn't find the gap here in the research. Next, article number 23. The research learning analytics as metacognitive tool to influence learning and transactional distance and motivation in online learning environments. And I found two gaps here: practical knowledge gap and population gap. And then let's see for population gap. The population used is university student. So for the next research, we can use students from junior high school or high schools to make the research general. And population gap also found in this research. Okay, let's see the article number 24, entitled Towards a New Approach to Managing Teacher Online Learning. Learning communities as activity systems. So here there are several limitations in the research which requires more well-designed experiments in the future work. Okay, this is the article number 24. And then let's see the last article, perception of online learning among college students as systematic. So here in this research, I didn't find the gap. Now let's see the mapping of 25 articles, and I put it into 4 to 6 paragraphs. So here I only make it into 4 paragraphs. Okay. Berdasarkan studi literatur yang dilakukan terhadap 25 artikel, kajian tentang online learning dapat dipetakan ke dalam paragraf berikut ini. Pertama, penelitian dengan topik online learning yang saya baca menggunakan ragam jenis penelitian, di antaranya 10 penelitian quantitative research, 9 qualitative research, 3 exploratory research, 1 theoretical research, dan 1 experimental research, dan 1 descriptive research. Ragam teknik pengumpulan data yang digunakan sesuai dengan jenis penelitian yang dilakukan diantaranya menggunakan kuesioner, survei, observasi, wawancara, dan data sekunder. Sementara teknik analisis yang digunakan adalah frekuensi dan presentasi (SPSS), metasintesis, analisis data statistik, PCFA, analisis tematik, analisis SWOC, statistik deskriptif, dan chi-square. Kedua, dari penelitian-penelitian yang telah dibaca, terdapat temuan bahwa pada masa pandemi, pembelajaran online dipandang sangat efektif sesuai dengan kondisi di mana siswa belajar jarak jauh. Penelitian-penelitian tersebut meneliti keefektifan, pengaruh, hubungan, persepsi, perbandingan, penjelasan analisa, dan penjabaran tentang pembelajaran online. Hampir semua penelitian dilakukan dapat mencapai tujuan penelitian dan menjawab pertanyaan penelitian. Dan sebagian kecil penelitian tidak dapat mencapai tujuan penelitian karena adanya faktor penghambat. Yang ketiga, dari beberapa penelitian tentang online learning ini terdapat keterbatasan penelitian seperti pada aspek peneliti yang memiliki kendala pada kedalaman dan kualitas materi, prosedur atau instrumen yang digunakan dalam penelitian. Pada aspek populasi yang hanya meneliti sekelompok kecil partisipan sehingga hasil penelitian belum dapat teruji secara global atau generalisasi, dan keterbatasan pengetahuan partisipan maupun dari aspek lingkungan pendukung. Namun aspek partisipan dan lingkungan cenderung menjadi kendala dominan yang dalam penelitian ini, sepertinya keterbatasan wawasan partisipan terhadap online learning dan tidak memadainya fasilitas pendukung seperti keterbatasan akses internet, ketidakmampuan orang tua dalam membiayai paket internet, rendahnya wawasan partisipan terhadap penggunaan aplikasi online learning, dan jaringan internet yang tidak stabil serta tidak adanya koneksi internet di daerah partisipan. Jadi berdasarkan keterbatasan penelitian ini, pendiri dapat melakukan penelitian lebih lanjut pada aspek partisipan dan lingkungan. Keempat, penelitian ini sangat perlu dilakukan sesuai dengan perkembangan zaman pada era teknologi yang semakin berkembang, meskipun nanti pada masa pandemi berakhir. Dengan adanya penelitian ini dapat diketahui keefektifan penggunaan e-learning yang diberikan kepada partisipan, tingkat keberhasilan e-learning yang digunakan, dan inovasi komunikatif, kolaboratif, kreatif, dan inovatif learning, serta berapa banyak yang telah mencapai hasil yang diharapkan dari online learning. Nah, berdasarkan mapping di atas, penelitian yang dilakukan berdasarkan gap yang ditemukan pada artikel nomor 23, maka judul penelitian saya adalah Learning Analytics as Metacognitive Tool to Influence Learner Transactional Distance and Motivation in Online Learning Environments in Junior High Schools of Padang Panjang. Okay, I think that's all my presentations about review, a literature review of relevant studies, matrix, and its mapping. I'm sorry for all my mistakes, and thank you for your attention, especially for my lecturer, Ms. Rita Erlinda. I'm sorry for all. Thank you for your guidance. Finally, I ask, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.